Hi, welcome back to Alex in Wonderland. I wanted to talk about why bodybuilding is more of a spiritual act than you might think it is. Like when first started bodybuilding, what originally attracted me was like aesthetics. Like I wanted to look better, I wanted to be leaner, I wanted like more defined abs, a bigger butt. Who doesn't want a bigger butt? But it was like the first thing in my life that felt like the rules really made a lot of sense. It was honest. The barbell doesn't lie. Your body can't do more than it's been trained to do. The mirror reflects back on what your current progress is. Even though a lot of people have body dysmorphia, so like the voice in your head is a lot crueler than maybe the reality actually is. But you can look in the mirror and be like, this is me. I like that, or I don't like that, and it makes me want to go and change it. But I really liked how it was all about effort and consequence. Like I could try hard in the gym, I could do my cardio, I could focus on my nutrition, I could track all this data, I could do the right amount of it, and I'd get the consequence of looking a certain way, whether that's growing or shrinking or maintaining or filling out your muscle bellies by eating a little bit more carbs. But I've always compared it to like growing a plant. You can't put the plant out in broad sunlight and give it tons of water, like to drown that motherfucker, and expect it to grow more. You're not going to eat so much food, train really hard, train 24 hours a day, something crazy, and expect your body to change. Like there is such a thing as overkill or overtraining or under-resting, underfeeding, overfeeding. There's the right amount to all of these things that gets the plant to grow or your body to grow. And it's all about like respecting that relationship in yourself and like getting really good at like the literacy between like what your mind tells you to do, what your heart feels like doing, and what your body is communicating that it's capable of doing that day. So like now, I don't really follow like a set training program. I don't like do Monday leg day, Tuesday upper body, cardio, blah blah blah. I just do what I feel like and what my body tells me it wants to do that day, and I try and respect it. Like today is a rest day. Whenever I film these things, it's a rest day. And I was originally planning on going running today, but my body was like, I'm tired. I was yawning after my 6:30 client, and I was like, it's not happening today. Today's a day of productivity outside of the gym. But anyways, I just know that this rest day is going to help me tomorrow. And if I tried to force the workout, it wasn't going to make me look immediately better. Rest is a pivotal point in that like muscle equation, and it's actually going to help you a lot more to progress, to get stronger, to get leaner, to lose some water underneath the skin from inflammation, and just like kind of do a little reset. But I think I really liked bodybuilding, not just for the aesthetics, not just for this like little muscle plant equation, but it was like control over my life. Like I could have shitty relationships, I could have crazy stuff going on at work, crazy stuff going on at school, and I could fall back on this muscle, nutrition, rest, sleep, hydration equation, and it would always give me the results that I want. So even if my life is chaos, it doesn't mean my body goes to shit because I have a plan. I have something to fall back on. It was foundational. So it really gave me like that philosophy of like, how do I live my life? Like, who do I want to be? And eventually that leads you to the point where the gym becomes more than just aesthetics. It's about the byproduct of the process. Like aesthetics is that end goal that most people like start doing bodybuilding or going to the gym, whatever you want to do, because you want to look different. Because deep down, like there's some sense of insecurity in all of us or inadequacy. Like, oh, I'm not muscular enough. I'm not curvy enough. I'm too small. I'm too big. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. Everybody doesn't feel good enough. And when you go to the gym, there's something about that formula that everyone accepts as, it's valid. It's going to work for you. But like the longer you do it, you stop chasing this end goal of the aesthetic and you start falling in love with the process. Like what you learn from doing that same movement every week, getting a little bit stronger, getting through that level of discomfort and pain, and then you start to lean into the pain and like, what is the pain teaching you? And like after you get through a really hard set, have you ever done like an overhead press and you get one of these little squeakers? ugh. There's nothing better than a super long rep that you chased. You didn't just get here and give up. You learn about your soul and the kind of person that you are. And I think that's what really made me addicted to it. I was an athlete my whole life. So I've always fallen in love with like the game. It was never because I wanted to look like an athlete. I was an athlete. I enjoyed the sport of it. I enjoyed the fun and the joy. But when I started bodybuilding, it was all about how I looked. I'd already built the body of an athlete, and now I was getting rewarded as like an IFBB pro because of this body I built through sports. Very small amount of the muscle curation that I've gone through was due to bodybuilding. It really came down to the nutrition, getting me lean enough. But all the muscle that I had built, it wasn't because of the weights. It was because of the sports. Because of the years of running and resistance and fighting and playing. That's what got me this all sought after trophy of being an IFBB pro. I would say that that's the least interesting thing about me. It's still a thing that somehow gives me the most credibility, but I think it should be like the type of person that I am, the way that I've curated my soul through how I train and how I believe in myself. I never give up in myself. And so it's like the process of the gym, I think, is the most magical when it comes down to it. It teaches you things like patience, discipline, braving through discomfort, and like, what do those things really mean to you? I disciplined so hard that I got it tattooed on my arm because I feel like I really understand that principle. Like, the more you lean into discipline, it gives you freedom. It's like the built-in rules that you've given yourself. And when you have those rules, you can do anything that you want, like following a nutrition plan. You can follow a nutrition plan like 5 days a week, 6 days a week. That affords you a day to go out to a restaurant and eat what you want because you have a disciplined, built-in plan to fall back on. You're not just going to go crazy. You're not just going to binge your brains out. You know that, like, I can go and enjoy this thing. It's not going to set me back. And I know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. I'm not going to just be a glutton because that's not very disciplined. But it's just one example. But I think more than just aesthetics, more than just what you look like, the gym teaches you what you can do. And I think that's like way more of a dynamic principle rather than a static one. You can look at your reflection in a mirror and that's just one snapshot. But when you stack on all these new abilities, running, jump rope, mixed martial arts, skateboarding, soccer, basketball, tennis, your body is capable of so many things and you're having fun living in it. That's way more exciting and interesting than just being lean and having a six-pack. And again, the byproduct of doing all of these amazing things and leaning into the process is the end result that everybody starts out wanting, which is the way that you look. If you want to look like an athlete, you got to train like an athlete. You got to be an athlete. You got to fall in love with that. And I think in the process of lifting weights, you confront yourself. You deal with a lot of the bullshit that you've told yourself, like, oh, I can't do a pull-up. One day you fuck around and find out and you believe in yourself just a little bit extra. Maybe you slept extra. Maybe you had a cheat meal and you're like, I think today's the day that I'm just going to hang on a bar and see if I can get up over it. And once you figure that out, you realize that you can do exceptional things. It starts out as who you are today, and you build yourself into who you want to become. How fucking transformative and spiritual is that? I literally have goosebumps talking about it. I think my third point is that the body is your identity, it's rebellion, and it's ritual. The identity portion comes from, this is how I live. This isn't just who I am. This is how I live 24 hours a day. This is what I live and breathe. This is what I believe in. This is how I've philosophically constructed my understanding of reality based around these nutrition and training principles and how I see myself, that self-concept. It's the motions in the gym that ultimately shape your mind. Like, you can think of a million metaphors for a squat. Like, you set yourself up, you brace, you hug in your abs, you lower your rib cage, you start to descend, you set everything up, you hit your ultimate depth, and then you blast out of it. Anytime you go through anything hard in life, it's that build-up phase. It's the getting all of your variables, all of your mishigas into place. And then you hit your ultimate depth, the ultimate stress point, and then everything is like all amazing coming up out of that because you've done the work to set yourself up for success. And the rebellion element comes from being a woman, in my perspective. Women are told to be small and take up less space and to be quieter and to be dainty. But by having muscle, you're taking up space. You're gaining strength. You're gaining power. And there's something really socially aggravating about that because there's this outdated ideal on how women are supposed to be. And by having muscle, by doing exceptional things, by being strong, completely confronts those ideals and says that they're not necessarily true. Women can be anything that we want. We can be strong, we can be big, we can be muscular, we can be self-possessed, powerful. It's not about being less. It's about being as much as you can possibly be and taking up space and owning that. And that's what's so fucking magical about it. Like, that's the rebellion element. And the ritual element comes from doing this shit every day. Like, there's, you put on your headphones, you put on your sassy Spotify playlist. I have a feminist playlist, and I listen to it a lot. And that just gets you in the zone. And then you start lifting. You kind of just like tune out the rest of the world. You get really in touch with your body. You're very in your body because it's not just like pick up this thing. It's how does it feel? What muscle am I activating? Getting to the end of the set where it starts to get really fiery and spicy and like the lactic acid is building up and you decide when you want to quit. That ritual builds yourself. It builds who you are. It builds how you think about yourself and what you're capable of. And I think that that's pretty cool. A lot of people think about fitness as just like being so vain and superficial, but like I think about it as like replacing religion. I have a deeper sense of my self-awareness, but also how I appreciate God and like this embodiment. Like I'm dropped into this meat suit in this time in life. When were women able to be muscular? Pretty recently. Allowed. But for real, like a woman doesn't have to get married. A woman doesn't have to have kids. A woman can go get an education. We can have a credit card. We can have a house. We can start a business. Having muscle and being strong goes along with all of that newfound freedom. And I just think that's really cool. And I just feel so blessed to be born in this timeline. And I intend to take my freedoms as far as I possibly can. And I'm going to practice this ritual. I'm going to see it as rebellion, and I'm going to embody it as my identity. I think that's pretty badass. So much deeper than just, I want to be a skinny, hot bitch. Hell no, I'm not trying to be skinny, and I'm not trying to be hot for the male gaze. I'm trying to be powerful, unfuckwittable. I just spit on myself. Society sees women's bodies as something to be corrected, something to be fixed. You hear this in the dialogue, like you need to tone up, you need to slim down, you need to lose fat, you need to take this skinny tea or this diet protein, blah blah blah. And it's all about just shrinking. But muscle is about expansion and increasing your capability and your power. And wanting to be strong disrupts that expectation altogether. So building muscle is a feminist act. But more than that, there's a lot of psychological and spiritual transformation that goes on in the gym. Building muscle is slow. You can't just, again, fertilize and water that plant to death. It will die. You have to give it the right amounts of all these things to see that progress. And it might take you months. It might take you years before you look the way that you want. But if you believe in the process and you have a good plan and you believe in yourself, you can get there. You just have to be patient. That's why you can't just be like so hanging on to that end goal. You got to be like, what are the little things that I can do every day and get that dopamine hit from just checking those boxes. Like, oh, I did all these things today. I did the right amount of work. I didn't do too much. I didn't do too little. I know that this is going to help, however long it may take. So you got to really trust the process. You got to believe in yourself at the end of the day. Another reason why it's super spiritual. It's like, this is my control panel in here. It's not like, I'm not going to outthink it. I'm going to be like, what do I feel? What do I feel like doing? How do I see myself? How do I see myself back here? Not just in the mirror, but like my existential understanding of who I am at a soul level, and then seeing it externalized in the body that I've built throughout years of suffering, pain, discomfort, resilience, falling in love with that process. Badass. I think it's just like you go from thinking like doing a squat. We're going to use that example again. Doing a squat is hard. Doing a squat with a 45-pound barbell, hard. Doing it with 45-pound plates on the other side, hard. If you can keep like bettering yourself and you get over the bar, you get those 45s on there. You add a little bit more, then you get 2 45s. That's 225 on the bar. With the bar, sorry. You understand that you can do hard things. And that applies to all elements of life. It's no longer just the gym. Like the gym teaches these major lessons. Like if you can lift 225 pounds on a squat, you can probably do other hard things. Like if the workout is the hardest point of your day, then calling your doctor back and asking for the blood work results shouldn't be that hard because it's just a frickin' phone call. Like the more hard things that you can do and the higher like that level gets, you realize that you're actually unstoppable. It's just a matter of how much you believe in yourself, how hard you're willing to work and not give up. Those are lessons that can apply to anything. For me over here, I hate doing my taxes. Every year I procrastinate, gives me so much anxiety, but the actual process of doing them is more monotonous and boring than anything. It's not actually that hard. And if I can hip thrust 555 pounds, I can sit in front of my computer and do a boring ass task for a few hours. If I can lift all that freaking weight, I can write down some ideas. I can study a new technological platform. I can start a business. I can call somebody for help on building out a platform. Like, everything else gets a little bit easier when you realize just like how hard you're willing to work. And I think seeing and witnessing that physical work ethic and seeing it show off or play out in the mirror, you start to see yourself differently. You start to act differently. You start to treat your friends differently. You hype them up. You believe in them because you've done the hard work. You know that they're capable of doing it too because we've all been at level 1. We've all been sensitive. We've all cried before. We've all lost belief for just a second. But I think that anyone can do it if I can. And if I see other people doing some hard shit, I'm like, I know I'm capable of hard shit, so let me try. Even if it's not in the gym, like, I know what I'm mentally made out of. I think that's pretty fucking cool. Training, sociology, and consciousness, what we value, the goals that we pursue, are all culturally shaped. Great example. Deciding to be natural, I'm a natural athlete, or taking steroids. Culturally shaped. Like you could be in a certain friend group or a certain gender or in a certain part of the city, certain gym, and you might feel more pressured to take steroids The opposite is also true. You might have a different social circle. You might have different values put into you by your parents. And that makes you like want to stay on the natural side. Like it's culturally shaped. It's environmental. It's not like we all necessarily have the same values, but you can see it in the gym with like how people train. Some people value being small, so they do tons of cardio. Some people value being strong, so you don't see them doing cardio. You see them lifting all the heavy iron and it's stacking on plates. Bodybuilding is all about like aesthetics and discipline, your looks, seeing your body as artwork, attention to detail. Very cool, very practical, awesome. Then you see endurance athletes really lean into pain and suffering and resilience. Like, everyone kind of goes after different goals, and we have different things that we find cool or the lessons that we want to learn based on the type of outlet, physical outlet that we seek out. But there's also this element of like gym behavior. So I studied sociology and communications in college. So when I started going to the gym and becoming a IFBB pro when I was 21 years old, I'm going in the gym, taking it really seriously. And I just like started seeing like all of the different subcultures within the gym. You see stuff like ambition. You can see it in the way that somebody trains, the way that they look at themselves, the way that they don't look at other people, the way that they take those grinder sets, these little lifts. Ugh. Exceptional. You also see competition. You see the egos. You see the not so sexy part of the gym where people are just butting heads, competing with each other. But competition also has like a pro side. Like if nobody is like impressing you and you're just like the best person in your gym, what's gonna like motivate you to do better or to know that there is better possible out there for you? So competition can kind of be a good thing, but it depends like how far you take it. You also see a lot of insecurity. People body checking themselves in the mirror. People wearing tons of oversized clothes. People making fun of people who are wearing a crop top who are maybe a little bit overweight. Or, criticizing people's outfit choices at the gym in general. That shit pisses me off beyond anything else. I think you should be able to wear whatever you want, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever allows you to train, whatever makes you feel cute. I think that it is very anabolic, just in my opinion. I know some people would wear Crocs and pajama pants, and I am not going to poo-poo whatever you like to do if that helps you lift heavy as fuck. But if you're wearing pajama pants and Crocs and sitting on a machine for over an hour and you're not using it, I'm gonna be pissed. I digress. You also see identity formation, like the people like myself who go to the gym all the time, who lift really heavy, who live and breathe that shit. You can see somebody build themselves in the gym, quite literally, but also at a soul level. I don't want to get redundant, but it's true. It's really cool to see people like build themselves up physically, but like in their confidence as well. That's why I love being a trainer. So training ultimately like leads you to self-understanding, like having a deeper sense of who you are and what you want to be made of and what you want to do and the goals that you have and the values that you hold. I think that's really interesting. So point number 7, we're at 7 now. I'm almost done. Being a hybrid athlete completely changed my perspective on the gym. When I got started, it was all about, symmetry, proportions, conditioning, discipline, detail, seeing my body as artwork, like this chiseled sculpture that I just want to add a little bit of clay here and chisel a little bit off here. And it's super awesome, super fun. I'm an artsy girl. Why not? But I kind of lost touch with that athlete who loved the game, who got joy out of making a certain play, getting a little ballsy, getting a little aggressive. So it has gone, and I said this earlier, but it goes from how I look to what can I do? Mind blowing. my body's always changing. Like, my abilities are always leveling up. I'm so happy. I truly believe in myself beyond any other level that I have in my 20s, and it's because I've literally picked up 8 new hobbies. And I realize I'm still the athlete that I've always been. Like, there is some sort of like body intelligence. I am very capable of picking up new techniques, styles, coordination, endurance. Like, it's all this shit. It's not just how well can I diet? How consistent can I go to the gym? How much hypertrophy and pump can I get into this muscle and make it look super round and 3D? That's cool. That's one facet of fitness, but it's not everything. And I think bodybuilders, myself included, get caught up in just being a bodybuilder. Bodybuilders are historically allergic to cardio. They want to do the least amount of cardio possible to get the physical result. So then all the extra calories and growth will go towards the lift, which is fine. But I was a soccer player. I played basketball. I played tennis. There's cardio. There's a lot of cardio in those things. And there's power, and there's like reading the field, reading the court. And I think that's really cool. So when I started like MMA, oh my God, I felt like an idiot. I also realized that I was drastically out of shape. I look like a bodybuilder. I look fit, but I was wheezing instantly within the first minute of jump rope. And that was the warm-up to the actual class. So I realized I was like, I want to be more than this. I want to be better. I see myself as an athlete and I'm not behaving like one. I just look like one. That seems like masquerading to me. So now how I view my body is it's like, this is the vessel that can do so much. It's not about just chasing the physical result. It's about chasing the physical ability. And a lot of that comes down to what's in here and what's in here. It's so much more than just genetics, muscular type. It's about who you are, who you want to be, you know? So, bottom line, last point. The body is a tool for discovering who you are. It's an honest feedback system. You're either like feeling ready to go, got gasoline in the tank, you had a good meal, you've been following your meal plan, you're like losing a little bit of fat, but you feel energized. So you go and get some PRs. You go and do that pull-up. You get your first dip. You get your first set of 10 push-ups. That's amazing. And you realize that it all started with an idea and believing in yourself. And that resulted in physical ability. Fucking cool. You also learn about your psychological limitations. You get to meet fear, doubt, fatigue, resistance, and you get to overcome those things every day with a new lift, a new challenge. And maybe it's because you didn't sleep. Maybe it's because you're stressed at work. Maybe you just had a fight with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. That's all like in the background of your brain, and it changes how you perform. But you also see like the flip side of that is like when your life's going well and you're really happy and you're excited to go like get your zoomies out at the gym, there's a lot less psychological resistance. So you really just got to play the game of like, how am I feeling today? What do I got going on? I tell this to everybody. Like sometimes when I have like too much nervous system stress or I'm like emotionally overwhelmed, I am not going to go run to the gym and just shove that shit down. I'm going to take the day to cry and be sensitive. Because I can't tell you the amount of times that I've gone and done cardio and cried. Or I tried to do a leg day and cried and it was embarrassing and I didn't get the lift that I needed. I wasn't going to change my body from that workout. I was going to respect what was going on in my life and give myself the time and the space and the grace to just go and feel it instead of trying to punish myself with a different form of pain. That does not make you stronger. That does not make you smarter. It makes you a glutton for punishment. I would rather just go cry, because the quicker you cry, the quicker you get back to being normal. And the more that you stuff that shit down day after day, week after week, year after year, that's what we call depression. Where you can't get the feelings out, but you feel like shit all the time. So That's my word to the wise. Feel your feelings, but go and enjoy the gym and learn some super sick spiritual lessons. My last point is, in the gym, you learn about who you are when things get hard. And it gives you a system to understand, process, become the person that you think that you are in your head, and see it looking back at you in the mirror. How fucking badass is that? Anyways, I hope you got some wisdom out of this, and it made you think a little bit differently about why you go to the gym and how you see yourself in the mirror and how to not kill your plant body. That's all. Have a good day.